The fifth mystery is the institution of the Eucharist. Jesus is coming to the end of his human experience. He has an idea, as opposed to the baptism of John the Baptist, when he was questioning, what am I about? What am I supposed to be doing? He knows now. He's going to be crucified. His life, humanly speaking, is going to be given. His Father wants him to be a sign of the love that is there in the Father, Son, and Spirit, in human terms, by giving, humanly speaking, everything he has, because he believes in God's presence, God's love, that he sees the presence of the divinity in each creation. Extraordinary. But he's coming to it. And when he finally experiences it the night before he's to die, he realizes that the people, the human beings whom he loves, are human. We have our limitations, and they're evident. We're so self-centered. We're so skittery. We're so afraid. We want security. We don't want trust. We want certitude, not faith. We want all of that. And we want love without having to share it. And of course, that's all opposite of who God is. And so Jesus comes at this Last Supper, the Passover, and he takes bread and wine. And we know, all of us know what the Eucharist is, that Jesus gives of himself under the appearances of bread and wine, totally and completely. Extraordinary. No more extraordinary, really, than the wine at Cana, when you think about it. I don't know how to do either one, but the fact is that God can do those things, and he does them when they serve a purpose. And Jesus is not trying to dazzle us. He's giving bread and wine. They're not offensive. They're not threatening. They're the staple of the diet of the people of his time. There was no meal without wine and bread. And so he uses those universal, general symbols of life, and he uses it as a sign of his presence, that I will be here under the appearances of bread and wine. How, Lord? About the same way he did the water into wine. I don't know. But much more importantly is, why is he doing it? He's doing it, and it must be connected with his resurrection and ascension, because he's going to leave. The way we experience him, body on body, so to speak, human being on human being, that's not going to be there. But it will be in every other aspect through the Eucharist, the pledge of his presence, not confined to a tabernacle or a church building, but as a sign that God is everywhere, and that if I accept his presence in me, then I have to accept it in everyone else and in the world around me. And it leads me to this kind of universality that we're starting to come into. We can't be labeled in a restrictive sort of way, religiously, politically, culturally, any other way. We need to be open more and more and to trust. The key word, I think, if I was going to try to reduce this enormous miracle of the institution of the Eucharist, it would be in the final words. Jesus takes the bread and the wine, and he says, "This is my body. This is my blood." I don't know what that means, except that he's there some way, somehow. But then he tells me why. He says, you do this to remember me. Otherwise, you're going to forget. And when you forget my presence, then the only thing left is yourself. My experience is that when I start living any given day with myself as the center of my focus, I'm in trouble. I have enough self-love, more than enough, But loving others, being compassionate and forgiving, unless I see Jesus, I don't think I have enough motivation or strength or courage. So the words, this is my body, this is my blood, for God, no big deal. Take this water and make it wine. Okay, that's who God is. But when he says, do this in remembrance of me, remember, I'm always there, that you are temples of God, that you are loved by God, and I want you to show me to everyone you come into contact with. Just as I use bread and wine as a standard symbol that everyone's familiar with, the same thought goes behind using you, so to speak, but using you in love, with compassion, so that other human beings, whom I love like I love you, will always know and not forget. They will remember too that the God we believe in is a God of love and a God who is always present.